All right, guys, so today we get a first look at a very interesting and futuristic looking device. And that device is the brand new MU6 Ring. And so what the Ring is it's actually an open ear wireless headset that's allowing you to hear your music, your movies, your podcast, or whatever, and still be able to hear all of your surroundings. Now, we've seen some other headsets in the market that's using bone conducting technology, but bone conduction is actually relying on a vibration to your skull, where the Ring is actually using air conduction. And what this does is you put this headset around the back of your head. Up front, it has these two rotating arms that can rotate at 120 degrees. And so it's relying on the direction of the speakers towards your ear canal. So your ears don't have earbuds in them, they don't have headphones surrounding them, and that allows you to hear your surroundings, which is really beneficial if you're going to be using them like running or riding a bike, so you can still hear traffic. If you want to use this like in your office environment, you can still hear the phone, or if somebody needs to come up to talk to you or get your attention. And kind of the same thing at home. If you just want to walk around listening to podcasts or your music and your kids need to get your attention, or your wife or your husband or whatever, this doesn't interfere with any of your day-to-day life. So as far as the pricing on these, they do retail for $79, but right now on their website, which I will put a link below in the description, you can actually pick them up for only $59. So let's go ahead and start with the build quality and the design of these. I felt like even though they're built all of plastic, they have a lot of flex to them. I could twist them, turn them, and bend them, and I never felt like they were gonna break. But if you are somebody that is a little concerned about that, inside the box, they do include a carrying pouch, so that does keep it a little more protected. But outside of that, I don't really think there's anything to worry about. Now, as far as your controls on here, it does use a single button that has a rocker located on both sides. So with that one single button, you turn it on, you turn it off. You have the ability to play, pause, skip your tracks forward, go backwards, and even volume control. So I really like that you have control over everything, but I also like that it's all done with one button. It just keeps things very simple. Now, as far as anything else located on the headband, right underneath the button, you see this flap, and that's what's covering your charging port. And unfortunately, the charging port on these is micro USB. For a device that has this futuristic look, I really don't like that it's using an older type charging cable. And speaking of the charging cable, battery life is actually really impressive on these. If you're going to listen to these at 100% volume, you're going to get around 6 to 6.5 hours. Although I don't really recommend using these at 100% volume for a number of reasons. One, it's very loud right there in your ear, but it also has it where everybody else around you is going to hear everything that you're listening to. So if you decide to use it more at 70% volume, you're actually going to be able to get somewhere between 9 to 10 hours. So it's nice to know on a device like this that you would use at work, that you actually could get a full day of listening without having to worry about charging these. But if you're somebody that doesn't really use your device often, it's also nice to know that these have a 200-hour standby time. So if you just throw these in your gym bag and you don't use them for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, it's nice to know that you're likely going to have battery life whenever you decide to use these. Now, as far as the technology that these have, they do use Bluetooth 5.0. They do have AAC and SBC playback. And I noticed that I didn't have any connection issues. I didn't have any dropouts. And I also didn't experience any kind of lag with movies or videos. So it's nice to know that you can use these with all of your different types of media. Now, as far as the drivers in here, they are using 16mm drivers, which normally would be a very large driver for a regular pair of earbuds, but you definitely need something that's capable of being able to get loud enough when it's going to be competing with your surroundings. Now, one thing I couldn't get specific information on is the IP rating. I didn't see it anywhere, although on their website, it does actually say these are waterproof. I think these are going to be completely fine against sweat and rain and splashes and things like that, but I definitely wouldn't trust submerging these into water. Now, for you guys that like to use your devices for phone calls, these do have dual mics that are located on the opposite side of the rotating arms. That way it's more positioned, aimed at your mouth. And I think it does a really good job with this. I think it picked up my voice pretty cleanly, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here's the mic test using the MU6 Ring. I think overall it does a really good job of picking up my voice, but do remember it's important that the rotating arms are facing down. Otherwise, the mics would be facing up and it wouldn't be as clear. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. The sound of these is definitely affected by the design. And what I mean by that is they have a very open and spacious sound. It is very clean and very bright, but it definitely lacks bass. So if you're somebody that's expecting a lot of low end, this is not the same as bone conducting where it has that vibration. So it is going to feel like it's a little flat when it comes to bass. Now, I still found these to be very enjoyable with music, but I do feel like they're more beneficial with podcasts and movies and even gaming. So if you're looking for that like full-bodied listening experience with your music, you're going to feel like it's lacking because of that lack of bass. But if you do decide to listen to these at a louder volume, the low end does start to come out a little bit. Just don't expect that subwoofer or punchy type feel. But the huge benefit to having that bright, clean sound is vocals come through very cleanly. With movies, I never had any issue with hearing dialogue. And the treble is nice and bright where you're able to hear a lot of details and instruments, or at least as much as you can in a very open environment. So outside of the lack of bass, really the only complaint that I have is the fact that it was using a micro USB cable. I'm not a fan of that. I feel like everything at this point should be USB-C, but obviously it is what it is. So my overall opinion on these is for $59, I think this is an excellent value, mainly because it allows you to listen to your music or podcast or movies in a lot more situations than you normally could with earbuds or headphones. It doesn't interfere with your normal day-to-day activities, so it doesn't stop you from being able to enjoy what you want to enjoy. Just know that it's going to lack when it comes to bass. And other than that, it really just doesn't have limitations. You can wear them all day. It's not uncomfortable. You can hear everything cleanly. And more importantly, you can still hear all of your surroundings. But guys, that's my video on the brand new MU6 Ring. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.